Hello. You saw the title, you clicked on this video, presumably after reading and understanding the title, but in case you didn't, let me make this clear. My first few videos, I tried to be diplomatic and inoffensive, especially because with regards to those topics, I truly believe that they're not that clear-cut and they deserve the nuance. With this topic, however, I am firmly planted on the side of the argument that I am going to make. So just letting you know, the style of this video will be different from my previous videos, if you're one of the few people that actually watch them, in which case, welcome back. So this is something that I've seen develop over the last 10 or so years, and it seems to me like it's getting unbearably bad for the last 2 years. I'm talking about this mentality, particularly in World of Warcraft, that everything has to be done as quickly as possible. Did you notice that? Seems to me, at least to me, it seems like pretty much everybody wants to get to max level and do all the content as fast as possible. And then, invariably, they'll bitch about how there's no goddamn content in the game. Now, if this was just something the player base was doing, I wouldn't be bitching about it here. My problem, specifically with Blizzard and even more specifically World of Warcraft, is that it seems to me like the developers themselves are encouraging this shit. Did you notice that? One example of that being the constant buffs to experience gain, through achievements, events, consumables, you name it. It really feels like the game is just telling you to go, god damn it, you've been playing for 2 minutes and you're only level 10? Go, god damn it, you should be level 30 by now, holy fucking shit, you finally hit max level after 1 hour of playing? Why aren't you in pre-beast gear yet, you fucking scrub? Even the time walking system they have nowadays, as soon as you hit the current content level, you get told to stop doing the old content. Are you fucking stupid? You have to come to the new region so we can get you to endgame as fast as possible. Honestly, I'm half surprised they don't teleport you to the new region as soon as you hit that level in the first place, so at the very least you can finish that one quest you've been doing there. For now. Hopefully I didn't just give Blizzard any ideas. Another example of this is the amount of fast travel in the game nowadays. Now there's goddamn portals to pretty much everywhere. This is something I've talked about in my fast travel video, obviously, but I think a lot of people didn't get my main point in that video, so I'll make it much more succinct here before some schmuck accuses me again of trying to bring back the second coming of goddamn Mussolini. I don't really care if single-player games have fast travel. I only care if MMOs have too much of it, because it can negatively impact other aspects of the MMO, mainly the social aspect, but also it ruins the feeling of the game being set in a big, wide world. And nowadays, World of Warcraft is horrendous with how much fast travel it has. It's again giving that feeling of the game telling you, go, you're not supposed to be here, look, there's the portal to the place you have to get to, just go, don't waste your time in the world we've built, are you stupid? You can't get good gear here, go, god fucking damn it. Okay, let's relax and think about how the hell this is even a problem. Well, like I said before I started this rant, it seems to me like Blizzard has noticed that a lot of their player base just wants to do the endgame content, which I don't know if it's true, but they have the internal data, so I'm willing to trust them on that. Regardless of why, the point is that they did lean into that so that, without exaggeration, you can get to max level in a day without too much effort. Yeah, you do need to know what you're doing, that is to say, just spam dungeons, but it's not like you have to do this super convoluted sequence of questing and doing dungeons to make it happen. You literally just do dungeons. Now, here's the problem with that. Because the game itself encourages this fast-paced progression, it also foments this mentality in its gamers. And again, before somebody thinks I want your rights taken away from you, I don't give a fuck about how you play your single-player games. Hell, personally, I don't even give too much of a shit how you play MMOs. What I want to argue here is that this sort of mentality is very bad for social games, particularly MMOs like World of Warcraft. So, what do I mean when I say that I personally don't give too much of a shit how you play MMOs? Well, I mean literally that. I personally don't care because I've been playing World of Warcraft since 2005, on and off since Cataclysm and other MMOs later, so I know the genre, I know my way around them, I don't need other people to tell me how to play or direct me anywhere, especially not in WoW. But what do you think a new player will think when they see something like this? What's that? You want to loot? In a leveling dungeon? I'm sorry, but that's unacceptable. Everybody knows you only care about experience in a leveling dungeon. Here, have a cake and go buy your gear like a normal person and do dungeons for experience, you fucking scrub. Yeah, I don't think a new player is likely to push on through a community like that. So that's why I care about game design in MMOs much more than in single-player games, and why I decided to rant about this. Because this is seemingly getting ridiculous now. Like, here's another example. I'm sorry, you didn't pull basically the entire instance all at once? I'm sorry, but I can't be wasting my precious time on such casual shit. You see, today I have to get to max level on my 5 characters in WoW, go to the gym, do my day trading, read 20 books, and go to bed at 3 AM so that I can go for my daily jog at 5 AM. And don't even get me motherfucking started on the motherfucking quest design. Nowadays, you really don't have to travel anymore at all for your quests. The objectives are all right there, right next to the quest giver. And on the off chance that the objective is some distance away, well, don't you worry your precious little head, Timmy. The game will offer you some sort of fast travel to that objective. Sometimes without asking you for your consent. It'll just send you to it as soon as you accept the quest. What? You didn't seriously think the game would still expect you to explore it now, did you? Now you might be wondering what I'd suggest Blizzard do. Well, here's the kicker. I don't think there's anything they can do. They dug this hole for themselves and now they can't go back. This became clear with classic World of Warcraft. WoW players nowadays are just programmed to play this way. There's relatively very few of us left that just want to take our time with it and go at our own pace, when that's even an option. Like I mentioned in my previous videos, I was lucky with my classic WoW experience, but even on my server we had people doing all the optimal and fast routes and all that shit. So no, I don't think at this point Blizzard can just revert all changes and go back to the classic design philosophy. I don't think I can find the exact quote now, but I believe it was Varoufakis who, when speaking about the state of the Greek economy some years ago, said something to the effect of, "Now the conditions are different, so you can't just revert changes and expect things to get good again." Same thing applies here, because the gamer's mentality has changed. If Blizzard completely reverts all the design changes they made post the Burning Crusade, most of their player base will leave. And you know what? I wouldn't blame them. The game is now made for them. I accept that, and I'm glad that at least we are getting more solo options. At least now I can do fucking normal difficulty dungeons with bots, and I have delves that provide a challenge that I can do at my own pace. So, if there's one thing I could suggest, if possible, expand these follower dungeons to old content as well, so that new players can at least see those dungeons as well, without getting yelled at for playing like a normal fucking human being. And I am saying that Blizzard did this themselves so confidently because I don't see this mentality in The Lord of the Rings Online, where there's, according to the developers themselves, a bunch of people that haven't even hit max level ever. In a way, I'm one of those players myself, depending on how you look at it. I did hit max level back when that was still 100 or 110, I'm not really sure. Basically when West Gondor was the current content, but that was years ago. Nowadays, whenever I get the itch to play it again, I don't feel any rush to hit that max level, not from the player base nor from the game itself. Oh, and by the way, I know it's not that simple. Of course, there's also the fact that our whole society, at the very least in the West, is so focused on optimization and this mentality that time is money that, of course, it's going to translate to gaming culture as well, but clearly there's something with World of Warcraft that makes it so much worse if games like Lord of the Rings Online don't have this mentality. And I would urge you to consider this. Yes, time, at least in our socioeconomic system, is money. But if you're spending your free time playing video games, you're not spending the time you were going to spend making money otherwise anyway, so just fucking chill. Oh, and before I get misconstrued again, as I have said many times in my previous videos, if you legitimately enjoy speedrunning or playing games fast or whatever, I'm not talking about that. You do you have fun playing that way, but in this particular case, maybe don't cheat in other people's breakfast. For some reason, whenever I see this topic brought up, these so-called hardcore gamers always tell the casuals to find their own groups. Well, why the fuck aren't you looking for your own group? I always thought Random Dungeon Finder was for filthy casuals anyway, no? It certainly seems to be that way, since you actually have to put in the extra effort of finding a group for mythic dungeons and Random Dungeon Finder, especially while leveling, is clearly meant for just queuing up while you're doing something else. You get in the dungeon and it's very easy since you're not expected to coordinate jack shit. Which means it's expected to take longer, by the way, not faster. Not saying that it does take longer, but that's because the vast majority of the player base already knows all the dungeons in and out. However, if you throw new players into a dungeon, I'd be willing to bet they take their time and not pull like half the dungeon before AoEing everything down. But yeah, the current player base uses that fucking system to speed level through to get to the endgame content. Okay, this was a bit of a tangent, but what I basically wanted to say was that if you're going to spend your free time playing a game, unless you really enjoy spending your time going through games as fast as possible, just don't play the fucking game. Value your own free time as well. If you hate leveling, just don't. Presumably you have that one max level character, do you really need another one? And if yes, surely it's not that bad if you're going to finish that dungeon like 2 minutes slower than you would have if you didn't get that one healer that just wants to fucking loot the boss. Anyway, that's all irrelevant because, like I said before, I'm not expecting Blizzard to change jack shit in this regard. I'm just explaining in why they, in trying to appease their player base, might have shot themselves in the foot in the long run by making their core player base completely uninviting to new players. Just as an interesting aside, Blizzard's fascination with going fast can be seen in StarCraft 2's campaign design as well. It also gives that feeling of telling you to go, 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 you've been playing for 30 seconds and you don't have an army yet? What the fuck, lil bro? Don't you know that you have to finish this mission in 2 minutes if you want that gold reward? Jesus Christ, on a motorbike. By the time I finish my last sentence, you should at the very least already control 90% of the map and be in the enemy's base, and now you've lost. So you do suck. You had a whole 5 minutes to finish this game and you didn't do it. And look, you only had 300 APM. What a loser. Like, okay. And for multiplayer, I actually do like the fast-paced nature of it. This isn't like Age of Empires 2 for me, but the constant time pressure in campaign missions is absolutely ridiculous. Holy shit. But anyway, like I said, this is just an aside, because, as I mentioned earlier, ultimately StarCraft isn't an MMO, so I don't really care about its design philosophy. Players don't really need to interact with each other in that game. If somebody doesn't like the gameplay, they won't play the game regardless of what the multiplayer community is like. Do you see how there's a difference here? With MMOs, the community can absolutely make or break the game, which is why all these different systems are so important. Yes, including fast travel, whereas in single-player games, it doesn't really matter. I'm just bringing this up because it's fascinating to me how Blizzard's design philosophy has changed between Warcraft 3 and StarCraft 2. Warcraft 3 had a great variety of missions, and yes, it did have some where there was a time pressure, but there were also ones where you could take your time to build up before going on the attack with a massive army, or approach the mission however you wanted to. In StarCraft 2, there's pretty much always some time constraint, and you're very much encouraged to rely heavily on that new unit that you just got for that particular mission, which, whatever, this isn't about other games. This is supposed to be about the community in World of Warcraft, and I believe I made my point. So yeah, a bit of a different video this time. I wonder how many people I pissed off with this one, especially since it's much more off the cuff than my first two videos. If you're one of the few viewers that have watched my previous videos and don't like this ranty style, don't worry, I'm not abandoning that more reasonable, calm and researched style of videos. And if you do like this style more, I will almost certainly also be making more of these in the future as well. Okay, thanks for watching and bye for now.